So, it turns out today was the day. Today was the day that Patrick Bamford's Leeds United career effectively was drawn to a close, with Graham Smith reporting that Daniel Farke informed Patrick Bamford that he was no longer a part of his first team plans. Effectively, it's game over. It's done. It's gone. No more Pat. And a lot of people may have the view that Pizzariel has. About time he had one good season for us. And a lot of people may have the perspective that I do, in that when he was fit, he was really good, but he wasn't fit enough. But I do completely understand this, and it's completely fine and normal and good. Sure, it makes sense. It feels like it is time. And there is a period of mourning to be had, and I hadn't realised that the sad music was still going. My apologies, I can't hear it on my end. And in the event that we meet again, it would be good to have Patrick Bamford back on a free on very little wages. But I think this is an opportunity for Leeds United to learn. But I'll get into that in a couple of minutes' time, because first I'm going to shield the charity match that is tomorrow. As you might have noticed, my setup is significantly more scuffed. That is because tomorrow morning, specifically in, I think, like 14 hours, I'm heading down to John Charles Centre for Sport to get everything set up for the Leeds Creator Cup. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. Gates open at 11:30 a.m. Be fantastic to see as many of you there as possible. £7 for adults for tickets, £3 for kids. Donations also very welcome. And I will be streaming it on my channel too, so it'd be lovely to have you there. Cool. But that was that bit done. Also, subscribe if you haven't yet. That'd be absolutely spectacular, because, you know, for every subscriber that I've got full-time during the charity match, I will donate another 1p to Prostate Cancer UK, which is spectacular. My brother has just sent me the meme of the Arsenal fan saying it's time to go, so I'm quite mad at him. Yeah. I think this is a fair point from Dobsky, saying 2 seasons where he scored above 10 goals over 7 years, it's no big loss for me. But I land roughly where Evie does, with a thank you, goodbye, and good luck, because ultimately, when it came to it, he did what was asked of him. Admittedly, what was asked of him a lot of the time was get fit and healthy, which he wasn't particularly good at. But a lot of the time, when he would sort of push himself back too early from an injury, under Jesse Marsh, for example, that's not helped him either. He's done whatever he could, and whilst what he could wasn't enough a lot of the time, that's all you can really ask of a person. But I do think this has provided the club with a little bit of a learning opportunity. And it is a learning opportunity that I hope we take, because simultaneously, whilst a lot of people have been asking, can we get rid of Pat yet, for example, that doesn't necessarily work, because people have been begging for Pat to go, but they've also been saying we need a Callum Wilson or we need a Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And I think this is a learning opportunity to get away from the players that are fantastic when they are fit, because that is ultimately what Callum Wilson is. And that is ultimately what Dominic Calvert-Lewin is. They are players that when they are fit and when they are available, fantastic. But they spend way too much of the time unfit and way too much of the time unavailable. So if we are to sign a striker, someone like a Muniz who tends to be fit and healthy, perfect. But if we end up going for a Callum Wilson, or we end up going for a Calvert-Lewin, after just getting rid of Patrick Bamford, I think we will have made a colossal mistake, and I will look back at this as less of a "it was the right time to move on, thank you, Pat, for your good work." Instead, I'll look at it as a we've spent far more money on these players' wages than we were ever spending on Bamford for effectively the same thing. We do need a goal scorer. Without a doubt, we need a goal scorer. But we need one that is consistently fit. And someone said in a group chat earlier that we can't be carrying passengers anymore. And that is fair enough. But I hope that the replacement themselves is equally not a passenger, because that will just apply more and more and more pressure to ourselves. And we need to not do that. You all don't know this is true. We all don't know what is true. Because if it's the Bamford thing, we kind of do, because this came from Daniel Farke's mouth, that he said to Patrick Bamford, "You're not part of my Premier League plans." Which is, as far as sources go, for a player's potential exit or no longer being present, there is not a better one. There's no better source for, is a player sticking around, than the football club's manager, which is kind of important. Can't wish Paddy anything but the best. I remember a recent interview where he said he'd like to try the MLS at some point. Hope he smashes it wherever he goes. Yeah. I don't have any ill will towards him. A lot of people do, and a lot of people will, but that's, come on. He's a person who's done his best. But yeah, I think he was at his best under Bielsa and was excellent in our first season back in the Premier. He absolutely was. And I think if he'd been able to keep his fitness throughout any extended period since then, he would have been fantastic. Like the end of the season where we ended up in the playoff final. One of the best goal per game rates of any of our players that season. I think it was only like a Sinistera or someone that beat him, because Sinistera played once all of that season. But it's yeah, it's time, I think. We still have Harrison from the Bielsa squad. I don't want to count Harrison, because whilst Harrison was here in the Bielsa squad, and whilst Harrison did get promoted with us, I feel like the 2 years out exempts him, because I think one long run of sticking around at the club counts. Have I had my haircut? I have. It's significantly shorter right now, um, specifically for the charity match, because I saw that it was going to rain a hell of a lot, and I didn't want to pull off the wet dog look. Get rid of Harrison, who was crap today. Get 90k off the books. Yes, please. Harrison was, according to FotMob, the worst player on the pitch. Throughout that match, there had been 46 players on the pitch, including a lot of youth players. Harrison managing to be the worst is genuinely an accomplishment for me. So I think get rid is probably the way to go. Stroke as well. I forgot about Stroke. That's a good point. Anyway, thought I'd hop on for a relatively quick stream to cover this, because I also want to keep doing video and stream a day if I'm able to. And I was in theory able to, because I'm around right now, but I'm going to get eating relatively shortly, so I'm not around for too long. If anyone's got any questions about the charity match, pop them in now. It's going to be a very, very, very fun day. Important note, there will not be any catering at the event. So bring food if you fancy. Bring a little picnic. That would be absolutely wonderful. But it would have cost us more to do food selling and stuff, so we're not doing that. So that'd be lovely. Anyway, looking forward to tomorrow now. It's going to be good fun. Hopefully everything goes good. And yeah, scary close to having various bits to do on that. Did the other game end 1-1? It did. The under-21s drew 1-1 with Guiseley, which isn't a bad result for them, to be fair. Like, a youth side against a senior side managing 1-1 ain't too bad. Whether it's going to be bad for the Currie Cup, it is, but rain will not stop us unless it is borderline monsoon. The thing that is going to potentially stop us is lightning, which we're still going to be broadcasting, and we're still going to be playing as much as we can, but we're going to be following some fairly safe protocols on that one. It's going to be a very wet day. It is, but it's also going to be a very fun day. So I hope to see as many people there as possible. It'll be absolutely lovely. And even if it's very wet and we don't get, I can send you a team sheet afterwards. Not on Skype, on my own YouTube channel though. Um, and even if there are delays to the match, it will be the weirdest live stream you've ever seen on Leeds United YouTube, because there's about 30 odd YouTubers there. So it's going to be a good time. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there for now. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please pop a like on the stream. It's always massively appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because for every subscriber that I've got full time, I'm donating. I'm donating another 1p to Prostate Cancer UK. Kickoff is at 1 p.m., not 2 p.m. But gates open at 11:30, which will be absolutely lovely. Hope you all enjoyed, and yeah, I will see you later. Toodaloo. No, he's gone.